Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman, your humble host, here for the next hour. Getting you ready for the Vince Show. We got a few things going on around here. Obviously, a little disappointed to hear. Well, I was very pleased and felt I'm gracious. I have great gratitude toward Pete for his support of me this week as something that was nothing became a national story, which is fine. It happens. I'm not upset. As long as they're not upset here, everything is good in my world. So appreciate the nice words from Pete, but I cannot stand the fact that I've created work from him. Please don't contact the radio station or Pete Mundo. If you have a question about me, call my show or contact me directly. Those that listen to my podcast, I freely give out my email information every day. I've got 125,000 subscribers there. They all have my email address and listen to the podcast, and I did not get one full-throated complaint from any of them about any of this. So you've got ways to reach me. Please do it that way instead of Pete's got a family, and he's got so many hats he wears, and he's so busy around here. Please, I just don't want to create more work for anyone else at the radio station than me. It's me. You got an issue, let me know. We will address a little bit of this, what happened, because it's over now. But it's kind of still growing legs as it went from social media to then mainstream media. And so I'm going to it's going to be maybe a lesson in media we'll talk about coming up in about 30 minutes. Not these things work. Also, incredible, the Royals have won 5 out of 6. Are they back in it? We will ask Mark Van Sickle, our in-house Royals expert, a little bit later in the broadcast. We start today with Russia. You remember Russia. And is this criminal territory? As we have learned that there's a referral from John Ratcliffe, the director of the CIA, to Kash Patel of the FBI, and an investigation was opened and is ongoing into John Brennan, the former CIA director, about false statements he may have made to Congress. Well, now, I say may. I think it's pretty much been proven by 2 different video clips that he said 2 different things. So it's the old Dire Straits song. If 2 men say they're Jesus, one of them must be wrong. So John Brennan has said 2 different things about the same thing, and that seems like it's trouble for him. I bring this up today because so many of our listeners and so many of my friends, relatives, people that I know in my circle are incensed by the fact that it appears that the years-long hope and prayer, like a sports fan wishing his team someday would win the Super Bowl. We did that for the Chiefs for a while, right? The hope and prayer was that the Epstein thing was going to lead to Bill Clinton going to jail, Bill Gates in federal prison. All of these different things were going to happen. And it's fun to root as a sports fan against the other team. I've said this my whole career. Sometimes it's more fun to hate the other team than to love your own team. When your team's mediocre, I mean, how long were you a Chiefs fan and it was more fun to watch the Broncos lose than the Chiefs win? When John Elway was their quarterback, and trust me, that's where the Broncos fans have been the last 10 years. It has been more fun for them on any day the Chiefs lose than when the Broncos win. That's what rooting for this Epstein thing was for me. Yeah, fine, whatever. I've followed stuff like this forever. There's no way those people were going to jail. The political and global elites are not getting locked up in this country. Now, maybe the Republicans are in on it. Maybe it is a uniparty. All I know is it doesn't happen. And because it doesn't happen, I never had my hopes up on the Epstein thing. But let's be honest. Don't you think it is far more important if we're going to do investigations in D.C.? We got 4 years of Trump and his people, and we think his people are badasses, let's be honest. We think they are. I'm not sure about Pam Bondi, but most of them around her, she seems like she could be compromised. She had some trouble in Florida, and I'm not the most gigantic fan of Pam Bondi, but we seem to think there are good, smart people in place that now have access to find out, although the Democrats, I think, in the deep state would be very good at covering their tracks on most of this stuff. Isn't it more important to find out if your CIA and your FBI are conspiring to rig an election? Isn't that really bigger than jailing Bill Gates? I mean, one maybe is more fun to root for from the sidelines just because of the glamour and the names and all of the attention that those people got that were with Jeffrey Epstein all through the years. But don't you think, honestly, this is far more important? And yet, I don't hear people on the right celebrating this. Okay, we're looking into this. Is this criminal territory? Well, maybe. 51 officials signed a letter at one point that said that these were all leftists, all CIA, FBI, deep staters, saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake and disinformation to sway an election. To me, that was election interference. They knew better. They knew better than to state unequivocally that that was disinformation. They knew better. At the very least, just by the positions that they previously held, what you would say in your position is, we don't know what that laptop is exactly. We're investigating. You would never come out and say, it's disinformation. We're not looking at it. So many of these were from their former positions. But they were all lying and they were all interfering. There's a lot here. But let me give you warning right now. If you think John Brennan or Jim Comey are going to jail over this, don't get your hopes up. It's 99% certain that neither will see jail time. The question here, and what the Trump administration wants to do, is shine the light on it, get it out there, strip these people of their pensions or whatever it is that they can. In the military, they take rank away, they do whatever. Any kind of things that they can do to discredit these people and dishonor their service is enough. It's not what we want, but in the end, it would be enough. What they're trying to do here is to stop weaponization of the government by identifying what has happened and preventing it from happening again. This is working on the deep state. Government oversight, government investigation, this is all part of checks and balances. I don't say this to try to lower your standards and make you not want to wish that these people are going to get locked up, that something really big is going to come out of this. But generally, imagine if you were a Democrat. They came after Trump. They impeached him. So what? He became president again. They jailed him in New York, or they had a trial in New York. They raided his house at Mar-a-Lago. They rolled him into the Fulton County jail and got a mugshot. He never went to jail. He became president. So don't think of it in terms of jail term. Now, they got Steve Bannon in jail for a while. Peter Navarro went away. There were people around Trump that got put away. And maybe some people around Comey and Brennan will be the fall guys here. And maybe there will be jail time, but they might be people you don't know the names of. We should take that. If they can work down the food chain and find people in this investigation, because I have no doubt this was a conspiracy. This was the Russia, and the Hunter Biden letter that was put out that this is fake news, disinformation. There is no question this was coordinated, and it was conspired by people working for our federal government to sway an election. To me, that's like, I don't know the exact in front of me term of definition of treason, but that sounds like that to me. That goes against everything America is. Our elections should be sacred. They should not be tampered with and interfered with. And what the Trump administration here, more than anything else, is dealing with election interference. It's always the same thing. The things that they accuse Republicans of is exactly what they're doing. And they were accusing all along of Donald Trump interfering with elections while they were doing it, because that's what they do. You pin it on the other guy because you're doing it, and when you get caught, now it's watered down. It's absolutely the game plan. But we need an intelligence department that's free of political influence. We just can't have that. We can't have it in the FBI. It doesn't mean those folks don't get to vote, and it doesn't mean they don't get to pick a candidate. The only sacred thing left, honestly, we'll assume that Secret Service agents that cover presidents are in the detail, or of the vice president, or Republican families, wherever. We'll assume there are some Democrat voters in there. And to this point in our history, we've yet to see anybody not willing to jump on top of a president and take the bullets and save the life. That really is the standard for everyone in intelligence, the FBI, and the Department of Justice. Are you blind to the political party? Will you do your job first and vote for your candidate second? We have to find a way back to that, and this could be very important to lead to that. We have to show people that work in D.C. at these different agencies that there is big trouble coming your way if you're complicit in any way in any of this stuff. If your boss says something that is wrong, you better out your boss. You better come clean with it. If John Brennan's dirty, even if you're a Democrat, if like now they're all Republicans. If you voted for Trump and you're in Kash Patel's FBI and they're asking you to do something you know you're not supposed to do, you better come out with it. You better go public and let people know. And it would be more meaningful if people from the same party did that when it happens. The Democrats aren't going to do that. But I think that's what this is about. And in my mind, anyway, this is better than going after the Epstein files. It is, because it happened, and it's real, and it affected the outcome of the election. I don't think there's any question it had an effect on that. And it's mean-spirited, un-American, and wrong. So count me in as rather doing this, although my expectations are low. My expectations on all these things are low. We're going to see subpoenas. We're going to see testimony. We're going to see subpoenas. We're going to see testimony. We're going to see all that stuff. And it's going to be fun because we're going to know that Brennan was crooked and Comey was crooked. We're going to get that satisfaction. But in the end, if you think they're getting cuffed and sent off to prison, don't expect that. We got to find some lower level people that were complicit in this, go after them, get them 9 months in federal prison, like they did to Bannon and some of these other, Navarro and some of these others. Let's haul them off and let's send a message that you're not immune to this. You can't do it. This really is about stopping the weaponization. You got to identify it, go after it, and prevent it. 913-408-7957 is the number to call. That's 408-7957. If you have any question for me, I'm here. Let's go. 408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Overland Park to Oak Grove, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
You can watch the live stream of the show every day on our Facebook page if you'd like to check it out at KCMO Talk Radio. And if you've been watching in the last hour of Monday in the morning today, you would have seen the engineers in here working. It's worth a look just to see what the heck goes on around here. I'm not going to kill you. It's great. In fact, I got a haircut yesterday. I'm going to give it a C-. And I might be grading a little too high. I don't really notice it when I get ready. I don't really notice it when I get ready in the morning. I'm always in a hurry, whatever. Then I get in here and this camera's in front of me. I look at the monitor. I'm like, oh, yeah, I thought I had a B- haircut. We're going to go with C- on this one. And yes, I know I need powder on my forehead. It's summer. I have a suntan, and I look shiny every day. But we're going to have sunshine all over your day as we go to the phones. And Derek joins us now from Oak Grove. Good morning, Derek. You're on Uncanceled. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask you some questions about Epstein, get your thoughts.
Okay. All right.
So Trump's labor secretary, Acosta, was the prosecutor in Florida whenever Epstein was being charged. And he gave him a really good deal. It was like 6 days release on house arrest. And he stated that Epstein was intelligence and that he was told that he couldn't be touched. And Pam Bondi and Trump were asked about this. And Trump interrupted and was like, why are we still talking about Epstein? And she didn't give an answer about whether he was an intelligence asset or not. And then they asked about...
I think it's already been stated by Trump's people that he absolutely was not an intelligent asset. Have you not read that?
So then was Acosta lying then?
Or wrong? Or misinformed? Yeah, any of those things can be true, or it could be now.
Okay, so then why
he's
would
dead.
they not investigate?
Epstein's dead, right?
Yes, he's dead. Why wouldn't they investigate? Where did he get his money from?
Should we be investing
hundreds of millions of dollars?
Should we be investigating Lee Harvey Oswald?
They are releasing the JFK files.
They already did.
What does that have to do with what I'm saying?
Well, he's dead too. We're going to start investigating all these dead guys? And look, I think the government knows stuff you and I don't know.
And that's case. Where did the people that gave him his money are still alive? You understand that?
I do.
Les
Sure.
Wexner was the guy who gave Trump or Epstein power of attorney.
Yeah, there's JFK people still alive too.
So these people, you're right, there are. So why are you trying?
I'm not. This isn't going to happen. Look, I think what you're getting at, and you and I, here's what we'll agree on. So you're not really as concerned about putting Bill Gates in jail as you are finding out if this is international. Does it involve Israel? There was a prince from Great Britain that maybe was involved. Is this international? And I think that's great that that's what we want to try to find out. But I don't think anybody anywhere wants anybody to know. And I just don't know how we break that cycle. I'm sorry. I'm not a quitter. I'm serious. I'm not a quitter. But how are we going to learn that stuff?
There are multiple people that are in the Trump administration that have connections to Epstein in the first administration.
Including Trump.
You're right. Jeffrey Epstein is on tape telling Michael Wolff that him and Donald Trump were best friends.
Yeah,
have you heard that? Yeah,
but that's not true either. There were many social events where they were together and they took pictures with one another and things of that nature. But I'm with you, man. Our government does stuff we don't know about. Sometimes it's nefarious. It involves other countries. There could be all kinds of things with Israel here or Europe involved with Epstein and whatever went on. It's not going to happen. If that's your issue, that's a greater thing to be concerned about than sending Bill Gates to jail. Most of the people that I hang with are not like, oh, this is international intrigue and America's compromised and we've got all these problems in America because of Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein hurt America. I could be wrong. I think we're in pretty good shape right now. So I don't think he did any damage, and I never saw him like that. I think he was a pervert and a pedophile and a sicko. And was there international intrigue with all of this? Probably. That's at least something we should be more concerned about than throwing celebrities in jail. I'll agree with you there. Here is Matt in Overland Park. Hi, Matt. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I just wanted to comment on something that you had stated earlier about the Biden laptop and the 51 former intelligence officials letter stating, you had said they said it was Russian disinformation, but you're not. They were much more cunning and clever than you're giving them credit for. What they said was it had all the markings of Russian disinformation, which allowed them to kind of distance themselves from actually stating it. What it did for the media was allow them to absolutely run with it and just create this whole other narrative where it gave the public perception that it was actually Russian disinformation.
I agree with you 100%. You are absolutely right.
They were just way too cunning and clever about it, and the perception that it created the public created irreparable damage, in my opinion.
Well, it hurt what Americans think of their government. I mean, there was already a thought that, we don't like Congress and a lot of things in D.C. and whatever. But really, we've ripped this thing down to where Americans don't think much of the apparatus, the federal apparatus, at all. We don't.
Absolutely. But I mean, the irreparable damage, meaning how many votes did that sway? That there are people still out there walking around today that still think that the laptop was disinformation.
No
right?
question.
So,
no question.
That's my point.
No question. And to me, this is something worth pursuing because that's a lot bigger to me than Jeffrey Epstein.
Without a doubt. Yeah. We need to see just how far the rock goes.
Yep. Great call, buddy. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. Here is Jeff in Shawnee on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, great show. Hey, you're losing me, man. I'm not a 13-year-old naive little girl, but here's the deal, man. On Epstein, all we heard from Cash Patel and Bongino for 6 months, man, this is deeper. This is deeper. This. Man, this is deeper. This is deeper. This is deeper. During the interview, their eyeballs were the size of $50, man. Nothing to see here. He committed suicide. Come on, man. I don't care. Like you said yesterday, I don't care two spits about it. But, hey, if they did this, what else did they do, man? It's kind of like dating somebody or being married. If you lie to me about the little things, you lie about the big things. It's a huge rabbit hole, man. And I think we need to go there. I think we need to back up. I hope they find something. But for 6 months, man, and I know everything. Right. Fox News, everybody talked about it. I listened to Fox last night. Nobody even brought about it. It's on to the next. On to the next thing.
So do you give any chance at all that Patel and Bongino and the rest of them got in there and started looking around and went, "Wow, we thought there was a big conspiracy here, but there isn't. That this is actually the truth." Is that even possible to you?
There's got to be something there, man. That's all they talked about. That's all he talked about.
I know. That's all anybody's talking about and still talking about it. I agree with you. Hey, I'm up against a break, but a great call. I agree with you. Everybody is still talking about it. That doesn't mean the new information isn't true.
From Gardner to Grain Valley, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
We are back on Uncanceled, and I just was perusing through my emails, and I'm a free subscriber to Jack Cashill, who you may know is a longtime conservative writer in the Kansas City area, but he's written for publications nationally. We've had him in here as a guest on Uncanceled. He's terrific. If you like reading about Jeffrey Epstein and that story, he's your guy. Go to Substack, and it's free subscription. You can get a paid subscription as well to get more detail and things like that and free copies of his books and whatnot. Jack Cashill, Cashill. He has written beautifully about Epstein and all of the people around him today. I just got the email sent out to me. So go there and check it out on Substack or just Google Jack Cashill. It'll pop up, and you'll learn everything that you want to know. He's really, really, really into things, big stories and things that have happened that catch America's conscience and then just disappear and go away and nothing ever happens. You can call those conspiracies if you want, but I think conspiracy is too broad of a word or exact a word for a lot of the things. So many things are just true. Like Republicans say things about Democrats and they say, oh, it's a conspiracy. Well, no, they're true. They're in plain sight. We can see it. We've got Hunter Biden's laptop. That's not a conspiracy. There's a guy with a store on a street corner here in Delaware that has his laptop. That's not a conspiracy. There's a laptop there. That's all. They were refuting that it was his. That's easy. You got a guy coming forward saying, no, Hunter Biden was here. He came in and paid for it and left his computer. I've got his laptop, and he didn't pick it up. So there you go. Jack Cashill would be an excellent person if you want to read more about Jeffrey Epstein to go check out. So let's get to the thicker flicker controversy. So, we've always been looking for a nickname for Mahomes. How about thicker flicker? He just flicks the ball like nobody else, right? They're proud that he's thick. That's the game plan, according to his trainer, to be thicker than other quarterbacks. We celebrate Harrison Mevis, the former Mizzou kicker, who now kicks for the Jets and is known as the thicker kicker. Well, we got the thicker flicker. Let's just do that. So here's what happened. And this is a lesson in media as much as anything else. And I've reached out to a couple of people that were involved in this. Clint Schweitzer being one of them. He's got a company called Sade Media, and they basically post things on social media. And 15 or more times a day, they will just put a graphic up. And all they did was put a graphic up of my quotes, but they were mashed together like one sentence. And it was not. It was over a 3-minute commentary that was filled with, if you ever want to go listen to it, it's at KK Has Issues. It's hard work to find. Maybe I'll post it separately for everybody. It's only 3 minutes long or so, and it was 34 minutes into the podcast. And it was filled with glowing compliments about Patrick Mahomes, his insane ability, being the greatest athlete in Kansas City history and the Super Bowl championships. And we'll never see anybody like him in our lifetime. But the context of the conversation was, we've been told after what happened in the Super Bowl, they're really going to get after it this offseason and come back different. My point was he doesn't look different. To me, a lot of people say Travis Kelce does, that he took it seriously and did it. But anyway, this happened. He posted the mashup. Not much became of it. They've got a few thousand followers. People in the local media saw it. Some Chiefs fans saw it. Some Kietzman haters saw it. It was fine. I didn't get one email from any listener of my podcast. I've got 125,000 subscribers, and not one single person who listened to the podcast had a complaint with my topic and my comments. But this thing hit, and a bunch of Kietzman haters on Twitter or whatever go do their thing, right? So that happened. It was dead. It was gone. It was a 3-hour deal. Nothing, no big deal. They didn't even get that much more reaction at Starcade Media from posting this than most of the things that they put up. Except Patrick Mahomes' trainer follows Starcade Media on X. And he went after me. And I don't even know how to fight back on Twitter. I'm not good at this. I can do radio. That's about it. I got one skill. They got all these computers in here. The tech guys were working on earlier today. They're like, hey, I wanted, I said, dude, I don't use any of them. I got a laptop. I don't know how to work these machines. I don't know. So I'm not that guy. I'm not very good at Twitter, to be honest. But I'm like, okay, this guy is saying, name me the quarterbacks that aren't thick in the middle that have won Super Bowls or going to the Hall of Fame. I'm like, well, how about Jalen Hurts, who just won the last one? He's going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, I could sit here and rattle him off right and left. Tom Brady, what he did. And my argument was on Twitter with this guy, I want, this is very simple, Patrick Mahomes to be Tom Brady, not Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger won a couple Super Bowls early and did nothing for the last decade plus of his career because he was fat. I want him to be Tom Brady. I want him to be absolutely committed to being the best he can be every single day because I'm a sick, pathetic, sad Chiefs fan like everyone else, and it's way too important to me. It shouldn't be as important as it is, but it is. So I want him to be Tom Brady. And so I did that with this trainer a couple times, and a few hours later, or early the next day, he blocked me. Well, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs got him. Well, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs got involved and said, my God, man, what have you done? So the guy that's really in trouble here is not me. I'm not getting any trouble. It's not me. It's Bobby Stroop, the trainer for Patrick Mahomes. He had to block me. And the Chiefs have to be scratching their heads. What in the world were you doing engaging this guy? We thought we got rid of him. What is wrong with you? We don't like when Kevin says the truth out loud. Do you think anybody at the Chiefs has told Patrick Mahomes that they think, we're not so sure about carrying that extra weight? You think Andy Reid can tell him that? These are legitimate questions. So the trainer goes after me, then he blocks me, and everybody picks this story up. It goes around Twitter. It does its ping pong thing where it's all one-sided. Kevin's an a-hole, blah, 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 blah. Great. And finally, a guy named Ryan Gaidos at Fox News writes a story yesterday afternoon, and it couldn't have been more fair and accurate. It didn't portray me as anything great or good or even right or wrong. It just says, here's what happened. While this thing's turning into a viral crap show, here's the real story. Guess what Ryan did? Ryan went to my podcast and must have waited 34 minutes in until I got to the topic or tried to surf through it. It was only 3 minutes long on a 50-minute podcast. He went in and he listened to every word that I said. And then he wrote his story. And it was fair and it was accurate. And it didn't make me look good. It didn't make me look bad. It was just fair, honest. What do they say? Fair and balanced at Fox News. It was fantastic. And then other media outlets start picking it up right and left. Pete was talking earlier today about Drudge Report and all the places this story has gone. Have you noticed the local media won't touch it? Has anybody noticed our local media won't touch it? So I'm blackballed from pretty much all of them. The Star will never write about me. They certainly won't write anything nice. They would never do a follow-up to their op-ed, Kietzman should be fired, from 5 years ago, which was the biggest story in the city for 3 or 4 days because it was slow news. And let's get Radio Boy fired. And here we go. And the Star had their editorial staff write a piece to get me fired. They would never follow up that, well, you know what? He might have the most successful podcast in Kansas City. Look at all these sponsors he's got and all these subscribers and listeners. What's going on here? They would never follow up that story. Channel 4 hasn't come back out. The morning show host come out and sit down and do a story at my house and ask me about it. Channel 5, all the TV cameras that were there 5 years ago, they've never come back and said, hey, what's going on in your world now? No, that hadn't happened. So why aren't they doing this one? You'd think they'd want to pile on. Oh, we're competing against him again. We're competing for podcasts, listens, downloads, and media space. We will not give him any attention. Well played, Kansas City media. Mayor Q couldn't stay out of the fray. He's blocked me. I don't know if this audience knows that or not. I talk about podcast. Mayor Q's blocked me. I can't follow him. I can't see what he does. But my listeners follow him, the podcast listeners, and they send me screenshots all the time. And he went on and referred to my shtick of the 90s being old and whatever. But this was on a day this personally hurt me. I did a thing on my podcast yesterday. I was so proud of Mayor Lucas. I thought his swimming pool thing was actually cool this time. I'm like, really? He's not running for anything. This isn't some cheesy thing. He's proud of the new community center. He's got a shirt and tie on, and he goes down there and he gets under the fountain. He gets fully in the water and gets splashed. I'm not joking. I thought that was cool. And I give the guy credit. On a day that I was saying nice things about Mayor Q on my podcast, he winds up tweeting about me being shticky from the 90s. I'm like, dude, I didn't start until the late 90s on that deal. This is, shticky. Don't be an ageist. Like he's 40, right? Or 42? So he thinks poorly of me because I'm 20 years older than him? Well, my parents raised me that when you're 40, you look up to people that are 60 and you go, you know what? They might know something that I don't know because they have, 50% more life experience than I have. I've always looked up to my elders and thought they can teach me something. They've seen more than me. Do you think you'd learn more if you lived to be 200 or if you lived to 50? And I don't know what's wrong with younger people today, but there's a lot of this going on. And Mayor Q jumped right in on it, trying to make me sound like some grumpy old man, get off my lawn. didn't mention my name, which is even worse. I, honest to God, believe Mayor Q and I would be friends. If we just got together and hung out and didn't talk politics, I think we'd be friends. I think we like a lot of the same things and have the same interests. But don't post about some radio guy being shticky from the 90s that you shouldn't listen to anymore and not even put my name on there. That's their game. They don't want to say my name. It's been the weirdest experience of my life. This has been a complete 180. I'm being honest with you. When we were building the radio station, Sports Radio 810, we had the best media coverage of any radio station in America. And it lasted 10 years probably. They couldn't write enough good things about us. They were like jumping on board. We were doing partnerships with them. We'd bring in their columnists to be on the air. We'd go on TV stations and do things with it. It was just one big glorious thing until Barack Obama won. And then most of the media went crazy. They went leftist. Everybody's a racist. What's wrong with Kietzman? He's this and that. It turned on a dime, man. And I thank them for the coverage we had those first few years. We wouldn't have built what we had if not for a lot of the local media coverage. But not now. You're not, I used to have TV cameras in my radio studio once a week. They'd come out and, hey, we want your opinion on this thing going on in sports. And they wanted to put it on the news, and they wanted to piggyback that and have me mention the TV station that I was on because we had so many listeners. My guess is they avoid KCMO Talk Radio like the plague, not because of me, but because it's conservatives. It's not good. Media's not good. But this more than anything was a lesson in how the media take a story and just run with something and create something that doesn't exist. It's fine. I'm not complaining at all. I'll take the publicity. I was talking with Pete earlier. He's not upset. He's like, hey, good publicity for the. How many stories did you read somewhere that said KCMO radio host Kevin Kietzman on his radio show said these things? I did not say them here. I said them on my podcast, which is owned by me and my company. So it's unbelievable how inaccurate the media can be and what can happen. And that's really what this tale was. This was a 3-day story of the media run amok, and it's predictable. It happens everywhere. It happens all the time. There's nothing unique about it, and I'm no victim. I'll take it. I'll take the publicity. I don't care. I do not take back one word of what I said in that 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Go listen to it. I'll post it separately later today so it's easy to find. You don't have to dig for it. I'll just put it up as a separate deal where people can go hear what I have to say. That's fair. That's accurate. And I think you'll find out that you're okay with what I said and on board with it. All right, we got a whole bunch more cool topics. We're coming back with Mark. He's excited about the Royals. He's got people in the hallways here at the radio station talking about the Royals. There are people like walking up and down the hallway, high-fiving over the Royals winning 5 out of 6. We'll do that and much more next on KCMO Talk Radio. All right, as you know, we're brought to you by bestofferkc.com every single day. I was texting my friend Mark at Best Offer today, and he has had contact with several KCMO listeners. Very excited to work with you and your families when it's time to do that. Look, we've all had a situation or two where we really need a friend, right? It's times like that you turn to somebody that you trust most for advice or guidance and help you get through something difficult. That's what I think of when I think of Best Offer KC. Chances are someday you or somebody you know is going to need to sell a home quickly with no hassle and no realtor. That's bestofferkc.com. They're the friends in real estate that you can count on. Whether it's an inherited house, a financial issue, a personal matter, a health concern, Best Offer KC can guide you through a plan that's just right for you, even if it means you don't sell to Best Offer KC. These are really great Kansas Cityans who care when you need to sell or move quickly. They even lend money before closing if need be. Nobody else does that. So as you hear other companies think that your house is ugly or they make some outrageous claim that they can't back up, consider bestofferkc.com and their higher standard of service. For a free estimate on what your home is worth, 816-338-SOLD. That's 338-SOLD, or log on to bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind.
Call Kevin Kietzman, 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
So, Mark, if this were a sports show, I'd come back and I'd say, name for me a greater athlete in the history of Kansas City than Patrick Mahomes, who we all have a man crush on. Can you name one?
A greater athlete?
Yeah, greater professional athlete in Kansas City history.
I can't think of one.
Right. I mean, what would the comps be? George Brett, Len Dawson, Tom Watson?
Yep.
There's quite a few out there that have been very good, but nobody like Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes has had the most rings, MVPs, everything like that.
And transformed his own sport.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Recreated how you play the position. Like a groundbreaking quarterback. I think that should be said. If people think what they think, like I'm some hater or something. No, this is the greatest ride ever, okay? Here's the problem. We're Chiefs fans. We're spoiled. We want it to continue.
Yeah.
Okay? And what have they said organization-wide since they lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl? We are rededicating. We are coming back with a vengeance. This one, we're taking nothing for granted. Do you know how hard this division's going to be this year?
It's going to be tough.
Really tough. Two of those other teams were in the playoffs last year, and they were just getting started with new coaches and quarterbacks, essentially. So they're coming back. This will get harder before it gets easier, I'm telling you. I think Andy Reid knows that. I'm not sure the players know that. This is getting harder as they go. They're going to get older. It's going to get harder. It just is. And that was the context of all of my comments. I want more great football seasons. I want to live this out into retirement, man. I want to go to a Super Bowl when I'm retired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That'd be fun.
I want to watch Mahomes catch Brady. I want all these things.
I think there's a chance he still can.
There's no doubt he still can. There's no doubt they could win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's getting way harder.
Yeah.
I think other teams are getting younger, and I do think it gets harder. And there's a time and place. You know, it was helpful. It's not required, but it was helpful that the division's been crap for 10 years. That was helpful. There weren't very many playoff appearances from the rest of the division, were there?
Yeah.
So
You by the Chargers.
it's harder now. Would you take, let's see, they're going to play twice against the Broncos and twice against the Chargers. Would you take 2-2 in those 4 games?
I'd take it. I hope for 3-1, though.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think
We're
we feel
getting
like
spoiled.
I know. How about if it was 2-2 in those games, but they beat the Raiders twice?
I'd be fine with
Oh,
that.
4-2. Yeah, you'd time. All right, the Royals won 5 out of 6. What's going on here, Mark? You're high-fiving people up and down the hallway today?
Yeah, one of the guys was at the game last night. Love seeing the walk-off, so just really excited. When your teams are winning, it just seems everybody's in a better mood.
Was that maybe the most watchable game of the year last night?
It was. It was back and forth. You had some good pitching. You had a couple home runs. I think that's the thing with the Royals. Now that they're hitting some home runs, they're starting to win more games.
Right.
Shocker. Who would have thought that would have happened?
Exactly. Here's how big Kauffman Stadium is. Bobby Witt Jr. is first in the American League in doubles. Salvador Perez is tied for second. And Maikel Garcia is tied for third. I mean, you're just going to hit more doubles at Kauffman Stadium. That's how big the darn thing is. All right. Are you're buying or selling? Are you waiting for the end of this week? What are you doing? Royals contenders again? What do we think here?
I think they're still in the wild card. I think the best they can do is probably third wild card. I've thought that all along, whether they sell or if they, gain somebody. I don't know. I think that their best chance is still that final wild card spot.
Last night, the catcher for the San Francisco Giants did something that hasn't happened in 100 years. They were down 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning against the Phillies. There was a runner on first base. He hit it off the wall in right center. It took a funny bounce off the brick wall or whatever. It went sideways between the center fielder and the right fielder, 40 feet away. He got a walk-off inside the park home run. First catcher in 100 years to do that.
That's so fun. A walk-off inside the park home run
Yes.
is probably the most exciting play in baseball.
Has to be. I mean, and the rarest of all plays, clearly. Because normally, you hit the walk-off shot and it's just a single. He had to keep going, man.
Yeah.
And he got all the way around. I love that. Kelly Stafford is the wife of Matthew Stafford, the quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stafford's been terrific. They love him in Detroit. And 10 years ago, he got married to Kelly Stafford. They signed a prenup. She was on a podcast talking about it. They're like, he's made $360 million since the prenup. And she said, well, it's fairly generous. And it was a no-brainer at the time. Do you think it's been altered? Would the prenup at that point have been like a $5 million buyout, or is it a percentage of her total assets?
My guess it would be a percentage if she's still excited about it if it happened.
I don't think she was excited. She's just saying, we're in love. We're not ever
Yeah,
getting
hopefully they stay together.
She had very serious battle with cancer, and he stood by her. This is a great love affair. This is a really, really good couple. I feel like if you're on a podcast and you're talking about your prenup, you must really love your husband.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's a sign. What's your favorite cheese, Mark?
Cheese?
Yeah.
I love Tillamook cheese.
Yeah.
I love Tillamook cheese from Oregon.
Tillamook, okay. Have you heard of something called Cabrales? Cabrales from Spain?
I have not.
I don't even know if that's how you say it. They had a competition in Spain this week for the best cheese.
Okay.
And a Cabrales cheese won that was aged in a cave for 10 months. Upon winning the competition, the block was for sale, and a restaurant owner bought it for $42,232.
It's going to be some expensive cheese for us.
That is a Guinness record. By the way, the Guinness record experience is at Union Station all this month in Kansas City.
Nice.
If you're into records, it's interactive. You can play games. You can try to the feats and all these other things. It's all at Union Station. 42,000 cheese for cheese is a little too high for me. The Vince Show is up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled.